very much for coming, everybody. I should say distinguished guests, friends, fellow writers, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. Most of you know I'm Gillian Bickley, one of the Proverse publishers and co-founder with my husband Verner Bickley of the International Proverse Prizes for writing previously unpublished in English. Quite a few of you have supported our events before. Thank you very much indeed for your loyalty and support. Some of you have not come before, and I hope you will come again and again. We look forward to seeing you as much as possible. Before we begin, I'd like to express our gratitude towards the Hong Kong Arts Development Council for the support they've provided from time to time in recent years towards the administration of the Proverse Prizes, including currently for the Proverse Prize 2023. The cash prizes in each case are donated by Verner and myself. But I'd like us to thank Hong Kong Arts Development Council. Can we give them a round of applause? Hong Kong Arts Development Council. Thank you. And it's very, very important. Now I'd like you to meet some of our authors who are here tonight. Please would you stand up to be acknowledged? I can't see Philip. Philip Chatting. Is Philip, writer of the politically incorrect, and therefore you must all read it, Hong Kong novel, As Leaves Blow, and the short story collection, The Snow Bridge and Other Stories, which won the Proverse Prize 2014. Is Philip. Jason S. Polly. Jason, whose Refrain and Cemetery Miss You were early winners of publication prizes. Roger Uren is Roger, whose prose and poetry collection, To Eastern Lands, we published some years ago. Also myself. I do recommend you read all of our books. You'll enjoy seeing different angles on what you already know and experience, and you'll also learn a lot of new and sometimes quite astonishing things. You'll meet some of the anthology poets later, both in person and from their videoed readings. The program this evening will consist of a mixture of live and videoed interventions. The pre-recorded videos are already uploaded to YouTube. You can view them there on your own devices if you wish. The channel, do you pronounce it Earl or do you say URL? The channel Earl is youtube.com/@Proverse Publishing, or you can search for Gillian Barbara Bickley, YouTube. I do recommend you have a copy of Mingled Voices 8 in your hands during the evening. You'll enjoy the readings much better if you do. The student helpers will bring a copy to you now if you hold up your hand with $140 in it, or show them your mobile phone showing payments to PayPal me, Proverse Hong Kong. Now just a word about photographs and video. I'm very grateful to Felix Wong. Where's Felix? Felix, who's our official videographer. To Polly Ho, Hector Lee, the student helpers, and any of you who will also take photographs or video clips. And if you do, would you please send them to me via info@proversepublishing.com. I hope you agree that if you accept a photograph or video footage of yourself, you're willing for it to be put on the Proverse website, Facebook page, YouTube channel, newsletter, or similar. By the way, one of the Facebook accounts is Bobby Edmonds, which is me, because my middle name is Barbara, and a nickname for Barbara is Bobby, and Edmonds is my mother's maiden name. So I don't want to have my name there, I'm shy. So Bobby Edmonds is me. And Friends of the Proverse Prize is also there. You can also look at that. Do you agree? Do you agree? Let me hear you. Yes, yes. If anybody doesn't agree, just cover your face if the camera is facing you, all right? I'll do my best to make sure everybody looks beautiful. If anybody looks pulling a face or drinking heartily, we won't show that photograph, all right? Thank you. Now, to start the evening's programme, here's a brief explanation from Proverse Prize co-founder and Proverse co-publisher, Dr Verner Bickley, of our reasons for establishing the Proverse Prizes.
Greetings, everyone. Gillian and I founded the Proverse Prizes because we saw that most literary prizes were restricted in some way. We wanted there to be prizes that everyone could enter. And this is what we created. Anyone, 18 years old or more, male or female, published writer or not, is eligible to enter for the Proverse Prizes, irrespective of nationality, residence, or citizenship.
Thank you. So thank you to Verner. He apologises for not coming, but it's a really complicated journey to come from Discovery Bay, because there's no private transport. You can't just get in a taxi and come. So now I'm just going to say a little bit more. So the two prizes that we founded are for work previously unpublished in English and submitted in English, maybe in translation. We founded the Proverse Prize for single-author, book-length works of fiction, non-fiction or poetry in 2008. The first edition of the competition was in 2009. And in 2016, we initiated the Proverse Poetry Prize for single poems of no more than 30 lines long. Sometimes people write a bit more, and if it's a really good poem, that's fine. Each of the prizes is open to anyone in the world. The only constraint on the eligibility of writers and poets is that entrants should be at least 18 on the date they sign the entry documents. Entries are anonymous, and the playing field is entirely level. Entries for each of the prizes are now received from the 7th of May each year. This is the English Victorian poet Robert Browning's birthday, and Verner and my wedding anniversary. So those are two mnemonics to help us to remember when it starts. The closing date for both prizes is the 30th of June, and there's provision for late entries from the 1st to the 11th of July. The choice of subjects for each prize is entirely a matter for the writer. In the case of the Proverse Poetry Prize, single poems, there's an optional set topic which varies from year to year. This year, 2024, the set topic is together. Together. Do tell your writing friends and acquaintances about these opportunities, or get writing yourself. For the Proverse Prize, many types of book-length work are eligible for entry. And as for the Poetry Prize, single poems, any format of poem is acceptable, subject to the slightly flexible 30-line limit. Full details are on our website, proversepublishing.com. Now, to one of the main events of the evening, the announcement and introduction of the finalists for the Proverse Prize 2023. So these entered last summer. So over to Verner again, Proverse co-publisher and International Proverse Prizes co-founder.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being with us. Entries received for the Proverse Prize, currently being judged, were of a high standard and received from around the world. The semi-finalists were announced at the Proverse Autumn Reception last year. The finalists have been chosen by the judges and will be made known to you now. They are Leon Blackford, Matthew Wong Foreman, Stuart Mackay, Michael Witz, and Pang Se-Yung. Congratulations to each of you. We are most grateful to Hong Kong Arts Development Council for its support for this edition of the prize. As usual, we have invited the finalists to tell us something about their entered work. We are delighted that Stuart Mackay is with us this evening and that others have sent video messages. We look forward to hearing from them.
Hi everyone, my name is Liam Blackford. In the early 2020s, I was in Hong Kong and I wrote a poetry collection called No Freedom Too Total. I'm very pleased and grateful that the collection has been selected as a finalist in the Proverse Prize 2023. There are 44 poems in the collection and each of the poems follows a special poetic form. Each poem consists of 6 stanzas. Each stanza consists of 6 lines, and each line consists of 6 syllables. The collection is concerned with the problem of civilization, that we as humans don't know what we are doing, that there are far fewer limits than what we imagined, and that we are constantly on the precipice of chaos, war, and extinction. The central avatar in the collection is the human, some of which are women, some of which are men, some of which are angels, and some of which are animals. The human is a lonely individual in a desolate world, unable to communicate with others and with no community or family. Human adults are no more adept than children, yearning for comfort but mired in confusion. The collection features various peculiar and psychedelic scenes. Men are caged in oceanside caves. Exiled women find crystal pools in rainforest mist. A mysterious frequency causes people to drop dead. Humans scramble over pellets on the gravel, bathe in filthy streams, and beg for each other's love as their bodies immolate. Corporations speak to each other with human voices, and prayers are given to a transcendent Godhead that takes the form of a network. I thank again the Proverse Prizes for selecting my collection as a finalist for the Proverse Prize 2023. Once again, the collection is called No Freedom Too Total. I hope you get a chance to read the poems, and if you do, I hope you like them.
Good evening, everyone. This is Matthew Wong Foreman calling in from Toronto, Canada. I apologize for being unable to join you all in person at the wonderful Helena May this time around, but I certainly hope to be able to do so sometime in the future. I am absolutely delighted and privileged to have my novel Sunsets at Lion Rock be selected as a finalist for the 2023 International Proverse Prize. I would like to thank Dr. Gillian Bickley and Dr. Verner Bickley for founding the prize and for their work, dedication, and contributions to advancing literature in Hong Kong and globally. I would also like to thank the judges for considering my work and for taking the time to read it. Sunsets at Lion Rock is a letter from a nephew to his uncle who died before he was born. It is an epistolary novel that follows the coming of age of Eric, a young Eurasian boy, who spends his youth baffled at why nobody in his family talks about his uncle Mikey, whose photos are on every table in every room. Years of silence together with a relentless Buddhist upbringing has him convinced he is Mikey's reincarnation, a belief shared by his deeply religious family. But when a summer in the mountain temples of Lion Rock Hill results in a crisis of faith, Eric is confused by his feelings of betrayal. His growing understanding of his place in Hong Kong society and the circumstances surrounding his uncle's disappearance compels him to question all that he has come to believe is true. And just like his uncle before him, Eric finds himself forced to choose between his family and himself. Written against the backdrop of the late 80s through to the 2010s, the novel represents both an attempt at self-discovery and a metaphor for the cyclical nature of human history and human life, as well as the human desire to break out of cycles of suffering and seek resolution, told through Buddhist themes like samsara, karma, among others. It highlights how it is reasonable, or perhaps even necessary, to leave a given space in order to break this cycle, rather than be mired down and perpetually seeking a resolution that might never materialize. Ultimately, the novel is the story of a Hong Kong Eurasian child's life his family can never know, documenting his attempt to navigate racial confusion, religious trauma, a first love, and a struggle for freedom in a disintegrating culture on the eve of a 1997 handover. Although the initial draft of the novel physically took 3 months to finish, during which I was possessed by a spirit at the height of COVID, the novel itself took a lifetime to write. Thank you all, and thank you Proverse Hong Kong for giving me this opportunity to share it with the wider world.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for the invitation to attend tonight's reception. I am sorry that I cannot appear in person. I am Michael Witts, a Welsh-born Australian poet. I am both humbled and delighted my manuscript Some Dualities has been chosen as a finalist in the Proverse Prize 2023. This, my 5th collection of poetry, represents 15 years of work. Last year, I celebrated 50 years of writing and publishing. I look forward to meeting you all in the autumn reception in November. I thank the judges, and I especially thank the Drs Bickley for their support. Thank you.
Hi everyone at the Proverse Spring Reception. I'm Pang Sen Yo, and I'm from Malaysia. 6 years ago, I was at the lowest point in my life. My career was at my peak, yet I failed in other areas. I didn't know what I was doing, and I was totally lost in life. All my life, I have been told, as long as you follow what you've been instructed to do, you'll be fine. Yet I constantly lived in anxiety and uncertainty, and I struggled to make sense of what went on around me. Then I realized the problem, being Chinese. To be specific, my Chinese upbringing and cultural beliefs. As someone raised in the Chinese household and society and conditioned to be a proud one, I realized that many of these teachings I received no longer align with our current reality. For instance, hard work brought me success, but only get me to this far. Knowing how to save face preserved my reputation and my relationships, yet it made me prideful and defensive. Being dutiful sometimes meant letting go of my personal needs, yet still not being deemed worthy of appreciation and praise. Avoiding confrontation helped preserve harmony, yet they did little to advance intimacy and deepen our relationships. As I started to let go of some of these limiting beliefs, I sought to become the best version of myself. My dreams started to realize, and things started falling into place. Despite the thought-provoking title, this book is a journey of overcoming and a journey of awakening. It is a guide on how you can be a proud Chinese person with embracing your cultural identity and living a fulfilling and authentic life. And this is done through acknowledging our Chinese strengths, discussing our weaknesses, and coming up with suggestions on how we can live better in this fast-changing contemporary world. Writing and conceiving this book has been quite a journey, and I'm grateful that it has been recognized. As a first-time author, I am humbled by this selection. I can't wait to bring this book to all of you. The Problem with Being Chinese, Deconstructing Tradition, a guide to living a more fulfilling life as a Chinese person in all areas of your life.
Thank you, Gillian. I'm hoping that being the only one here gets me some brownie points. Joking. My name is Stuart Mackay. I'm originally from the UK, but I've been living in Hong Kong for 12 years now. And I'm delighted to have been named as a finalist in the 2023 Proverse Prize with my novel, The Ballad of Billy Lopez. It's a coming-of-age tale told from the point of view of a troubled teen called Brad, who breaks the leg, accidentally we hope, of the class nerd Billy. This sparks a passionate relationship between the two, leading to Brad growing and learning a lot about why he is the way he is, in terms of his sexuality, his family, and his place in the world. While the setting is very specific in both place and time, and the characters' experiences are quite unique. I think there's a familiarity and a universality to the story which can speak to us all, creating a story which I hope is in turns funny, touching, and ultimately heartbreaking. I'm honoured to have made it this far in the Proverse Prize, and would like to thank Proverse Hong Kong, Gillian and Verner, as well as the judges for their consideration. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Stuart, Liam, Matthew, Michael and Pam, for your introductions to your work. I'm sure we all wish you all best of luck. The winners of the Proverse Prize 2023 will be announced at the Proverse Autumn Reception, 21st of November this year. Same place, same time. Make a note in your diaries. We hope to see you again. We'll also be announcing winners of supplementary prizes. These may include any of the finalists or semi-finalists. They may also include other entrants. One or more of the winning books may also be launched at the autumn reception. We now come to the launch of Mingled Voices 8. I should be able to hold it up to show you. Tonight we're launching an anthology of poems by 51 poets writing from Hong Kong and around the world. Australia, Chile, Ireland, New Zealand, the PRC, Portugal, Singapore, the USA and the UK. These were selected by the judges last summer from the Proverse Poetry Prize 2023 entries. The set topic was space, quite topical at the moment, the astronauts. Poems could also be on any subject chosen by each poet and in any form, style or genre, typically, I emphasize the word typically, no more than 30 lines long. We're very pleased that Mr. Jeff Streeter, writer and critic, until recently director of the British Council in Hong Kong, has kindly recorded an introduction to Mingled Voices 8, which we'll hear now. Following this, we'll hear readings of poems awarded a place in this new edition in the Mingled Voices series. The poems include the first, second and third prize winners, a selection from groups of poems by a single poet specially mentioned by the judges, and other winners of a place in the 2023 anthology. Now we'll hear from Jeff Streeter.
My name is Jeff Streeter, and it's my great pleasure to offer words of introduction to Mingled Voices 8. I didn't go to the moon, I went much further, for time is the longest distance between two places. These words from Tennessee Williams seem applicable to many of the finest poems in Mingled Voices 8. The theme of the competition this year was space, but many of the poets also explored the passage of time. This is made explicit in X, The Peaceful Prayer Garden by Linda McKinney Lambert, through the recording of the effect of small gestures over the years in the garden. When I rake the colourful gravel, I scratch an X in the sand, I leave a mark. Years of photos record subtle changes. Natural and concrete imagery also feature in the wonderful first prize winning poem Portrait of My Soul as a Mushroom by Gary Beaumier. But the passage of time is also present, though more obliquely. The closing of the poem touches on the inevitable return to the earth, suggesting a natural cycle where what was once important is broken down to give rise to new life, going about our work of breaking down and rising up all that was thought to be important. Here, there is a suggestion of deep time, constant renewal, a cycle of change, with the mushrooms as the driving force. Michael Witt's beautiful quartet, which traverses time through its seasonal and historical narratives, contains cycles too, not only of the cycle of the seasons, but also a musical cycle. The unifying image begins with the Bora wind, which creeps down the Pole Valley bearing cold. in the first section and is taken up by a furnace of a sunset driven by the south wind in the final one, with the hot and dusty sirocco and a sea breeze blowing through the intervening sections. Indeed, themes of resilience, transformation, and the passage of time reverberate throughout the anthology. There is, for example, the evocative portrayal of historical events in 1368 AD by Rina Ong. The poem opens with the golden orb of a mooncake which explodes on the poet's tongue. This very physical, sensory experience gives way to reflections on the transitions of history. And history is very much a theme explored by George Watt in his sequence For Ukraine, a sequence in 6 parts. This is a story of the underdog refusing defeat in conflicts, and ends with a lesson taken from nature that underlines that of history. What terrified most the mighty pachyderm was the almost weightless honeybee humming near. Then there are the poignant reflections on personal growth in Palm to Words and Clay by Anna Querscher Thomas. Here, alternative ways of registering the passage of time come to the fore. Measure my life in stopped clocks, you said, by the space between the letters in a history book. Here, the cracks of history allow some kind of time travel in the form of something to be remembered between the letters of a book for safekeeping. Exploring a nearer past, Tante Alice by Konstantinos Mahoney transports readers to the early 20th century. The opening seriousness of the first line, a white lace parasol floats above a line of greeters, turns out to be a kind of mock gravity as the poem adopts a playful tone. The poem ends in a poignant way, however, with the coming and going of the trams, an image, perhaps, of the transience of life. Part of an ekphrastic sequence by Neil Douglas, the poem Broken Statue, Sabratha Museum, Tripoli, takes us back almost literally to Linda Lambert's version of a fractured past serving to the present, with its cracked torso, which forces the poet, or rather the statue, to wonder what's left. The suggested theme of space is reasserted in José Manuel Sevilla's starkly beautiful meditation on exile and forced migration, Borders, the Sea. Soon the Pharaoh's army will catch us at the border between the country of death and the country of emptiness. But even there, time reasserts itself in the future tense. Far away, my steps faded away. I had never put together the words, today I will have 2 lives. While many of the poems in this cracking anthology take us vast distances, many of the best do indeed travel much further than the moon. I hope you will get as much pleasure as I did from reading their many varied journeys through deep history and distant eras. Thank you.